Okay, so I'm just working through. So I'm away to start recording something here. So this is me sort of about. I'm in phase two of the God prompt, and I want to show you while I'm doing it what it actually looks like. I've created something here that I think is going to completely change the way that you use Claude and how Claude can actually not just benefit you as your communications, but ultimately create something far more human than the normal AI stuff that gets spouted out by everyone. I think this is going to create something more meaningful and more a deeper connection between you and your clients, you, your customers, and you and your personal story. So, but I'm quite a bit through this just now. So basically, this is excavating the best pieces of your work. And the reason this is different is that this is not copy and paste. There is a main God prompt, and from that prompt, we use audio. I think audio is the best part because it gets your tone, it gets your mood, it gets a sense of the tapestry that's actually living and breathing, that dynamic sense of what actually matters in the world, in your world. And it allows Claude to understand your voice and understand the feeling of what it means to be you. So as you're going to see in a second, I'm going to continue on, but I wanted to show you sort of like a fifth of the way through. We're not at the start, but we're in the second stage. Okay, so when where am I now? So the name itself came from observation. I wasn't speaking. Nobody else was. That was true. This is my unspoken wounds work. But here's what I'm missing. You're in that dark corridor, roughly 2003 to 2006. I'm fighting, drinking, getting arrested. This is my past story. Trying to unalive myself. This is true. You're in books, you think about grandfather. When did you actually start the work? Not the reading, the actual moment you went from I'm figuring this out for myself to I'm going to help other men who are carrying this. Okay, so that was 2006-7. So yeah, when I actually started to do the work was, and initially I created a Facebook page called Unspoken Wounds of the Armed Forces, which became Unspoken Wounds. And I reached out to as many men as I could. I started to share my story, my truth. It was very early, so it was raw. I had no training, no teaching. I was just running on pure passion and hope to, in one way, just kind of help men not fucking struggle the way that I had been struggling, and to give them a lifeline. Basically, just to jump in the dark hole with them and figure out a way to help them come back out. And instead of all the men joining, it was a bunch of women. And I was like, why are all these women joining my page? And then I realized this is my first lesson in business and marketing, that it was the wives, sisters, aunties, and mums and the girlfriends of the men, because they had become the primary carer, because the men didn't know how to speak and communicate. So the women were basically the primary carers for their mental health. And that became the door. That became the way in. And it was a wonderful realization. And so, yeah, that's been a wonderful truth. And then it was a few hundred people joined the Facebook page. And then it was a few thousand. And then it was tens of thousands. And then I was reaching millions online. And I started to talk publicly. And the military charities, or the charities helping ex-military, the veterans, reached out to me and asked me to share my story at an event in Stirling, and I went down there and I did. That led me into a world of public speaking and sharing my story on stage. That was 2008. I think it was 2008. I've got that video on YouTube. And then I ended up. So as you can see, that's me filled up the space with audio. So then I just paste that up. And then what we're going to do now is going to speeding up again. Tell me about one of those women. Specific woman, what was her story? What did she say that made you realise this was real? God, it's making me think now. Oh, God. I'm going to have to think about that. Because there were so many. I'll just be honest. I can't remember the name of a specific woman, but I just remember that it was a collection. I think it was about 15 to 20 women that I was like, oh my god, and that's when I realised. But there was hundreds of women on the page, and I remember thinking, why are all these women following me? I want the men. But yeah, the morning after the first event in Stirling, no, I remember as I went on stage, and I remember that experience being, I was close to the edge. I felt closer to death, which made me feel alive. It was that sense of being on the being in a contact on tour. A contact is, an engagement between combatants, and I just remember thinking, this is the feeling I've been missing. That sense of aliveness on the edges of normal behaviour, but it was the closest to excitement as I could ever get, and I was like, I'm hooked. This is it for me. It just naturally felt instinctively correct for me, and I had had no training, none. I hadn't even read a book on communications or public speaking. I was just like, yeah, fuck it, let's go for it, see what happens, and I fell in love with it, and I discovered it was a weird connection as well because I'm ex-Royal Signals, which is the Royal Corps of Signals, and they are communicators. And my job was a radio relay detachment operator. My job was to connect trunk networks. This was way before digital; it was still analog, and I realised that I was, in essence, a communicator. That's what I'd done since I was 16 years old, and here I was after my career in the military as a communicator, communicating for people, and I discovered that was. There we go again. I filled it up, so it's gonna hopefully ask me to finish that bit because it didn't finish, because it's quite clever, this Claude business. So hopefully you're getting some kind of essence of how this is different. See, finish it. It's really good. This, I think, this prompt that I've created for you is a real gem. So where was I? Let me catch where I was there. Communicating with people, and that's what I'd done since I was 16 years old, and here I was after my career in the military as a communicator, communicating for people, and I just realised that this was what I was meant to be doing with my career. It's not an easy jump. I had no real training. It wasn't my professional capacity, but a communicator in the sense of how can I take the stories that have shaped me as an individual and helped shape, break, and reshape my identity. How could I take those lessons, those wisdoms, and share them with the world? And that was the essence of Unspoken Wounds, and which led to my philosophy, which is the wound is the way. And I discovered that there is wisdom inside the wound, and that has been what I've done for coming up for 18 years. Oh, it's 18 years now. It's nearly 20 years. And yeah, it's been an incredible journey. So you can see this prompt is, in essence, an absolute genuine tool. It's not just a copy and paste and you get some generic output. I think this is the first time somebody has created something like this that it just really works. Look, it's not letting me move forward. It's saying, hold on, you just said, and it's pulling the pieces. Like you can see here, it is pulling the pieces out of the tonality, the voice, and ultimately that is what connects us, you, to your clients, to your people, to the stories that you want to put on YouTube, Instagram, social media, to the stories that you want to write, to the story. Make more money by making a difference, not just in your communication structure, but the whole kind of architecture of how you communicate your value and how you can deliver that value in a time where there's just copy paste everywhere. Let me know if this makes any sense to you. I have not got this ready to buy yet, but let me know if this is something that you would like to have, and I will put this together because I don't want to build it if nobody wants it. I'm excited that this is something that's really working. Actually, while I've got you on the page, let me show you the kind of actually, I'll make another video and I'll show you the type of artifacts that I've been developing based on this kind of work. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, let me know what you think underneath. Thanks.